Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning. Ray, is it?
Yes.
Good morning, Ray.
Can anybody hear me?
Yep,
No?
I can hear.
Good, okay. Good morning, Ray. Welcome. Glad to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll get to formal introductions in a few minutes. What we got?
I'm just getting to opening the PowerPoint. So there it is.
Mary, you're sideways. That's better.
How's your club doing with the Zoom meetings?
Well, the president hates them, but we're doing okay. You know, we spent the summer having our meetings in a park. And so
Oh,
we didn't do Zoom meetings until it got dark. And then we were able to go right to our restaurant for 2 whole meetings before it all got shut down again. But we're doing fine. Now, are you in the Fair Oaks Club?
Citrus Heights.
Oh, Citrus Heights. Okay, I thought it was one or the other.
Yes.
Good morning.
Well, look who's here.
Yeah.
Where you been, dude?
Well, I have news, so I'd like to announce to the club when they're all here.
Okay. Okay. Hope it isn't bad.
No, it's good.
Oh, all right.
I'm back.
Okay. Well, I'm putting you on my announcement list.
Okay. Thank you.
So, good. So let's see, we're getting there. Good morning, Sue. Long time no see.
Hey, how are you, Bob?
I'm fine.
Good.
Where's Sean? Sean's there. Russ? I mean, Don? Yeah. Hi, Lori. No Russ yet. Nobody's very talkative this morning. I guess that's because Patty's not here today.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Morning, Bob.
Whoever said that. Hey, Steve.
Well, if you want us to be talkative there, Bob,
Hi,
I've got a
Bob.
question for our guest, Ray.
Let's not go.
I'd like to ask Ray, what kind of pie is that on your cabinet out there? What flavor?
The flavor is round.
Well, some people take their pie that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So my daughter's birthday is March 14th. And she
Yep.
bought this one for me a few years ago.
That's good.
Or
So
Hey,
Tommy,
there's Rich Rolfe.
how many decimal points can you
Another
quote
pie
the
baby.
pi to?
Hey, Rich.
I'm only good for 5.
Hey, Rich Rolfe is here. Great to have you with us, Rich. You're muted, so I can't hear you.
Oh, he's outside too.
Yeah. Where the sun is shining. Must be back east.
I'm as much outside as Don is near the Golden Gate Bridge.
Hey, wait a second.
It's 7-7. Let's see how many we got.
Good to see everybody.
22. Well, it's great to see you. We'll catch up in a minute. We'll see if we get a few more people. We're doing good. We got 23 at the moment. So, Sean, I need to chat with you at some point. I thought I could just give you a quick phone call after the meeting. Would that be all right? Explain the thing I left off for you yesterday.
Yeah, I thought you were just leaving me some lunch money or something.
Yeah. I'll go over it with you. I've been
Yeah,
carrying
that's
that
fine.
around since you gave it to me, 2 months ago.
My gal in the office said I need to write a check or something.
Yeah, I'll go over that. We don't, yeah, Bill is there. Okay.
As long as
Bill,
you're writing checks, Sean.
yeah, Mr. Wagner, I finally gave Sean his money back so that he can get it to you. Or that we can actually get it to RI to get things started. So
It's the food bank this morning if you want to bring it by there.
that's right. Yeah, we do have Food Bank Friday today.
Oh, gotcha.
There's Audrey. Somebody else is coming. And we do have, I saw, gotta look through these so fast. It's funny, I need a pair of glasses that, kind of are halfway between back here and up here. I hate to keep doing this while we're doing these meetings.
That's a good look.
Yeah, thank you. But I saw, yeah, Ann is here, good. Someone is trying to connect, I'm trying to figure out who it is. Oh, it's Brian. Hey, Brian.
Morning, Michael.
Just in time. Well, it's a couple of minutes after 7, so I think we'll start the meeting and maybe we'll get a few more as we go. The prospector, this can keep track in case somebody pops in a little late. So I hate to do this loud. There, I have rung the bell. So good morning, everybody, again, and thank you all for getting up early and coming and do our meeting. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Orangevale, California, where we get up every morning to do good things in our community and the world. We'll start with I don't know quite whether to call it an invocation or if there's some other word, but Ann, would you give us an invocation or opening words or whatever you want to call it?
Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing on the Rotarians and guests who are joining in our Zoom meeting this morning. We are ever grateful for our loving Rotary family and for the opportunity to share our good fortune and talents and energy to serve in so many ways, both in our community, such as the food bank, and afar. We ask you to continue to open our hearts so as to be guided to those in need and meaningful virtual service projects. COVID-19, so many waiting anxiously for the vaccine. We are so thankful that Rotarian Patty and her husband Rich and Rotarian James have survived the virus and are in recovery. Comfort those who are struggling with health and personal problems. How can we help our fellow Rotarians who need a helping hand? A friendly phone call, a visit, wearing a mask and socially distanced, of course, because the best thing to hold on to in life is each other. We are ever thankful for our first responders, healthcare workers, firemen, policemen who are so courageously risking their lives to protect us. We pray for peace for the many countries in conflict throughout the world, as well as our own country. Watch over our servicemen and women who are stationed so far away. May the club updates and presentations shared at this morning's meeting inspire and energize us to make the most of the day ahead. Guide us all as we continue to serve the community and make a difference in the lives of so many. Amen.
Introduction of guests. Russ, would you like to make a formal introduction of our speaker this morning?
Well, it's not terribly formal, but it's my pleasure to introduce from the Rotary Club of Citrus Heights with the classification of mailing service person. I don't know what that would be, but anyway, Ray Reilly, and Ray is going to be our speaker this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Ray. We're all applauding. Good. Excuse me. And we've got a sort of a guest. I guess we'll call him a guest. Where did he go? I'm sorry. Oh, there's Kirk's here. Hey, morning, Kirk. You're late. Rich Rolfe is with us today. So, Rich, how are you and what you've been up to? We're glad to see you.
I'm alive and above ground and breathing, and just kind of hanging in like everybody else.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're with us today.
Not doing much.
Okay, but at least you're still there. That's great. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see
that's
everybody
great.
else. That's great.
And I have to go back and forth. Now I got Mike is with us now. Yeah. See, my screen is only so big and it won't give me any more people. And
Jeff is hiding in a cave there someplace.
yeah. There we go. Okay. Great. Well, that's good, and welcome to both of you. For announcements, we have a few. Excuse me. Ann, why don't you go first?
Okay. The Interact Club, we're going to be delivering Valentines to Blossom Vale residents next week for Valentine's Day, cards made by the students. We're struggling, though, to come up with virtual project ideas that are engaging and reasonable. And we're going to be contacting someone we all know and love, Celeste Roseberry McKibben, to see if her book drive is still going on. Seemed like it might be a wonderful virtual project. As for the virtual exchange, we're coming up to that important orientation on the 13th of October. Our student from Casa Roble, Eli, can't wait to meet his partner from Brazil virtually by Zoom. And I'm so happy to announce that Mike McGibbon will be his counselor. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Russell, we might as well get it over with.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Don.
I'm Don Russell, your club service chairman.
Good
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
So let's see, who can I pick on today? Steve Blair. You look like you're maybe not awake, but you have a scientific background. Why can't you trust atoms? Why can't you trust atoms?
Oh, gosh. You want me to think this early in the morning? Why can't I trust atoms?
Prospector. Where's the prospector?
No idea, Don. Why
'Cause
can't
they
I
make-
trust atoms?
Because atoms make up everything.
Okay. Moving.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
They're all your fault, Bob.
Okay, well, we're moving right. One of these days, we're going to actually have, a party or something coming up. And we'll go from there. Okay. Jim, do you want to tell the folks about, you've sent out the email about the Rotary magazine. you want to tell them your experience with that, and exactly for those of you who don't read their emails, can get in on the deal?
Sure, and it is a long email because I told you exactly how to do it. Basically, if you want to reduce the size of your magazine pile in your living room and still watch or read the magazine from Rotary International, and I will ask you in a moment what that name is, you can sign on for a digital magazine and they will quit sending the paper one to your house. So essentially what you do is log on to My Rotary at rotary.org, get into your own area, your member space, and go to media and magazines. I think it says media and news, and click down on a magazine, go to the one that says Rotary. Oh, I gave it away. And as you scroll down, you'll see you have the option to click on subscribe to digital version, and then you fill out the form. The only thing that made it difficult was they asked for your Rotary ID number. And I looked all over in My Rotary and I could not find my Rotary ID number, but as it turns out, there are two places you can find it. One is on the magazine label, mailing label itself, the first 7 digits, I think it is, of the ID number on the mailing label. Sorry, I have a dog trying to join me here. And then the second place is if you go on to Club Runner and log into the member area and look at your own profile, you'll see the ID number there, just big as life. So that's the only trick to the thing, is to find your ID
I
number.
can always give that to people as well.
Hey, Jim, real quick.
Club Excel file for everybody who has the Club Excel file.
Yeah,
there you
Lori has it on that list, whether you got it digitally or on 11/17. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I have them.
Anyway, this came about because Mitch Klaus got tired of piling up magazines, and he said, do I have an alternative? And we found one.
Yeah,
Trying to save the environment one magazine at a time.
that's great. Okay, thanks, Jim. Don't forget, today is Food Bank Friday. We'll be meeting over there around 9 o'clock and go until 12:30. Wear a coat. We have a good list. I've got a good group already signed up, but if you haven't gotten back to me and you would like to attend, please come on over. There's always room for one more. We did do this last week, along with a whole lot of people from the Divine Savior group. And then it was odd because it wasn't very busy. We don't know why, but it just wasn't. So it's kind of an easy week. Last week, we'll see what today is like. But that's happening this morning. I wanted to mention the awards. I sent that link with that email about our portion of the awards dinner or banquet or thing, whatever you want to call it, because it was online. I was actually, after I went through the whole thing, and I was in, I felt kind of impressed with ourselves. I mean, if you haven't looked at that thing, Steve mentioned at our last meeting that we'd gotten these awards and things, but there's no real context there. And if you listen to this whole thing, you can see how well we really did. I mean, there are these. He gave, 8. There were 8 medals that he gave out, and these things are all based on if you made if you did what you thought you were going to do this year or this last year. Out of the 8, we got 1 silver and 7 golds. So that was really good. And then in the section regarding the foundation, there were about 4 or 5 different things that you would actually kind of get in that thing, and we got 3 out of that. Plus, we had the best breakfast club. So we did really well in the district, and we need to give ourselves a pat on the back for that, because that was really great. I just wish, normally it's a dinner, and you get there, and it's a kind of a boring dinner, but this time we had to do it online, and that's okay. Anyway, so that was great. The other announcement that I have is regarding the fundraising committee. We met last night for the first time on Zoom, and I was really impressed with everybody. We just sort of talked for an hour or so, throwing out ideas, and we actually came up with some great ideas. And we're going to meet again next Thursday at 7 and start to put together a plan to raise some money this year. And we did. It was really a good meeting. I felt really good when we were done, and I hope the others did. I think that we may come up with some interesting, completely new ideas and new things to do, and we'll see. Maybe this will work so well that we won't do crab feeds anymore. Who knows? That could be a goal, I think. So for all of those on the crab feed committee, anyway. So anyway, that was good, and there'll be more info about that coming every week from now on, I'm sure. Does anybody else have any announcements that I didn't know about? I don't see anybody raising their
Just
hands.
a quick
Forget
one.
me.
Yeah, Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan, I was going to ask you about that, about the thing that's coming up, the Orangevale, Best of Orangevale thing.
Sent out an email. Today is the last day to vote for Best of Orangevale. You have to vote for at least 3 categories, and Rotary Club is nominated for 2, so that takes care of 2. But feel free to vote for as many as you like. I accidentally put Rotarians in there. That was my mistake. I thought I'd double check the list of other Rotarians that have been nominated for various things. Just make sure if you vote for Best Insurance, don't vote for close or odd.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever.
But today's the
I hope
last
you get
day.
fined for that.
Today's the last day though, so go on there. It's the club, and it's just it's really well received in the community. So it literally takes 10 minutes to do, and all it takes is a valid email address. So just give me a call if you have any questions. I can help walk you through it.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned, because I didn't realize today was the last day. So after the meeting, everybody get on the computer and do that. Great.
Don't forget about me.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't forgotten about you, Jeff. I was
Okay.
saving you for last. Okay,
Oh,
so go ahead,
boy.
Jeff. Jeff has an announcement. Go for it.
Okay, I just wanted everybody to know, I know I've been kind of scarce at meetings. I've been going through some things, but they're all straightened out. I am no longer with or at True Blue Auto Care.
Oh my.
I have moved on, and I am now at Steve's Small Car, and he is supporting, my efforts in Rotary, and I worked things out. So I just wanted everybody to know where I'm at now. So if you want the phone number, I certainly have it here. Not that I'm advertising, but
Well, where is it?
it's over on Main. It's kind of kitty corner from the food bank. So right as you turn off of Greenback onto Main, it's the first complex on the right. You'll see it says Steve Small Car up on the small car repair. And it doesn't mean we just work on small cars. We work on just on everything.
It means it's a small shop working on cars.
Yeah, well, it's just the name of the place. He keeps saying he's going to change the name, but anyway, I'm very, very happy there. And like I said, he's supporting my my efforts and my endeavors in the Rotary. So I'm very, very happy about that. So I'm back, and I just wanted everybody to know. So.
Okay, well, great for you. We're happy for you.
For those of us who have hung out at Bud Walmer's shop, Steve's Small Car is 2 doors down from Bud's shop. 2 doors
Correct.
up.
Yeah.
2 doors up. Correct.
Cool. Okay.
988-1586.
He'll have cards next time we get together.
Cards. That's right. Absolutely.
Good. Okay, great. Well, that's great. Now, as far as, let's see, Bill, do you have a foundation minute?
We are just on our way to meeting our goal for the year. The couple goals that I have, I'm repeating those that Bob put into the system. $10,000 in foundation giving, $2,000 in Polio Plus, and to become an E-Ray club. And if you haven't made a donation to the foundation this year and you want to make a donation, please see me. I can help you with that. I think that's it, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our vocational talk today was supposed to be Dennis Metzler, but he's not with us this morning. It was supposed to be Steve last week. Steve, can you do off the top of your head, not being really prepared, do one, or
gosh.
shall we just?
Well, let me see if I got, yeah, I could.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, why don't you go for it and then we'll be caught up.
Do you want to share? Jonathan, can you?
Yeah, set him up to share.
Can we
Jonathan.
share the screen?
All right, there you go, Steve. You're co-host and should have
All
shared.
right, so let's see.
Sorry about
Do I
that.
switch on screen? Oh, well, I guess I'm there, huh? Okay. So I got. Can people see pictures?
No.
No.
No? All right, so Jonathan, what do I click on to actually?
A screen share at the bottom of your screen there, Steve.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Then it selects the window for application. I have a folder with some pictures.
You have to open the folder and the picture.
How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll try to make this quick because I forgot about this for the last couple of weeks. But so I'm going to talk about what happened after college real quick. So when I got out of at UC Davis, graduated in civil engineering, I went to work for a international steel company, and I got to work on fusion and fission research projects. Fission is nuclear power plants. Fusion is the ultimate power source that we've never been able to achieve. That's turning a hydrogen ion atom or hydrogen ion, which comes out of salt water, into a chain reaction and gives sustainable power. What you see in this picture is what we call the space frame, and Kim from way back in the day. This was at Los Alamos Laboratory, which is down in New Mexico, one of the two secret cities that worked on the nuclear bombs. And so this picture shows this space frame that has mirrors and what happens. And let me try to figure out how to advance my pictures here. So hold on a second. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So that space frame goes in this vacuum vessel, which our company built. It's a huge cylindrical thing. It creates space vacuum. So the lasers shoot into this vacuum chamber. They got the hydrogen ion. The mirrors are mounted on that space frame. That's a rendition of what it's supposed to look like. The lasers bounce around. There were like, I think 12 lasers that went in there, and they all then would focus on this hydrogen ion, cause a chain reaction and make power. So that was kind of cool. It's a one of a kind, never done before, never done since, but it was fun to be a part of it. We built it, we got it up there, and then we turned it over to the scientists to play with. The other thing, nuclear power or fission. This is a picture up in the Tri-Cities, which is southeastern Washington, of part of the what we call the containment vessel. That's 150 feet in diameter, lifted up. We had to build them on the ground because the whole project, which we were only a small part of, was way behind schedule. So we built this big ring on the ground and set it up on top of the other parts and pieces of the containment vessel that we built. That's a picture of how cold it is in southeastern Washington in the winter. That's a water pipe where the water trucks fill up, but that's leaking water, frozen. This is a picture of what was at the time the largest crane in the world, built over outside of Portland, shipped up the Columbia River in parts and pieces. And I don't know if you can see in the back there, those little white things on the, there were two individual, we call them tractors, crawlers, sort of like the space shuttle crawlers. There was a man inside each of those driving them. Those concrete blocks are the counterweights. They're 8 foot by 8 foot by 20 foot, and they stack them up. It's 1,000 tons, largest crane in the world at the time, 365 feet long, so longer than a football field, and made out of wide flange. And when that thing laid down the ground, the main boom, it was like 11 feet tall. So it was a lot of fun for what I got to do in Washington. There's a picture of us lifting it off. Down below it is the dome that we also set. The dome was 275 tons. I think these rings were about 175 tons. So that's kind of what I got to do. It was very unique. Just great memories of it. They have since torn down the reactors because most nuclear power is all gone. That's way up on top of the containment vessel, looking down on the trailer farm of all the general contractors and subcontractors. There's a picture of the outside reinforcing of the containment vessel. That rebar is 2.5 inches thick. So if you can imagine, you know, your normal rebar in the slab of your house is 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. This is 2.5 inches thick. It's meant to be, and it's about 5 feet thick. It's supposed to be able to protect those nuclear reactors from anything that might drop out of the sky. And there's an airlock that we had to set in there. Don't want to go into too much about that. That's how we had to set the airlock. That's kind of a crazy thing we had to do to be able to drop it down inside. Getting 3 cranes that close together was a little bit scary, but we pulled it off. It was the only way we could build that thing. And when I graduated from college, I sold this to buy a Volkswagen Rabbit, only because going up to Washington, I didn't think there was any Triumph dealers. So I went from my first beloved car to a Rabbit. And that's a picture, Richland, Washington. That's the high school mascot motto way back in the day, the Bombers, because Richland was also the secret city where they developed the atomic bomb. The high school has since changed it, Don, since you brought up atoms, you know, atoms revolving around I don't know, something in the middle. But anyway, that's my talk.
All right. Well, thank you. That was good. That worked out well, since technically you were supposed to do this last week and it worked out. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a few minutes for a prospector. So take it away, Cindy.
Okay, let me unmute myself. There we go. All right, didn't get a lot of dirt. And since Jeff outed himself, Jeff, why don't you put in what you think is appropriate for your job change?
All right, $20.
Very good. Okay, let me see. Is Lori out there?
Yeah. She's there somewhere.
Molly, sorry, I'm being importuned by a black and white mobster. I'm kind of busy. Go away. Thank you. So who can guess whose birthday it is today? Anybody?
We didn't hear the question.
I didn't hear the question. We didn't hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whose birthday is it today?
Russ has his hand up. Must be Russ's.
Okay.
Today is the 35th anniversary of my 39th birthday.
Wrong.
Wrong.
You are 8.6 squared years old.
Anne has a birthday. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you, Anne.
I'm wanting to celebrate and remember my dear husband, whose birthday was February 5th. And
Oh, very good.
also I recall is celebrating today. I'd like to make a donation to the foundation in memory of my husband. So I'll be talking to Bill as to whether I mail it or what. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, Russ,
Yes, ma'am.
since you didn't know how old you are, what are you going to donate to the prospecting?
I think I'll make a donation to the Rotary Foundation also.
Okay, very good.
And
All
just
right.
know it's really easy online. It's a piece of cake.
All right.
Okay. And then apparently in our Polish football pool, there's still 2 people who haven't paid up.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think I just heard one of them. $2 from each of you. Steve, Jonathan. I won't say how much you owe, but
Hey,
you need
Russ,
to
I
check
can't
the
remember how
pool.
many games did the Niners win? Was it like 2?
not many.
They were more than that.
Why would Russ know? He doesn't follow the Niners.
Yeah, 6.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Just to collect bets.
For his own selfish means.
Okay. Well, that was all of my dirt. So now you have to deal with my favorite, this day in history. What happened today, space-wise? This day in history, February 2nd.
Were you asking?
The first monkey was launched? I don't know.
That's $2 to you. Okay, well, hold on. I'm looking at the list here. Dennis? Dennis Sarkisian?
Oh, well, let's see. I have no clue.
Okay.
So-
$2 for not knowing your history.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. How about Rob?
I'm busy taking notes for you. I'm sorry, I don't have time for this.
Uh-huh. $2 for you. That's for paying too much attention.
I'm
How
sorry.
about
get that
the
out
first
there.
dog launched into space?
No, we already had that guess. So now you got $3 you have to pay in. All right. Tommy? You've always been a bit of a space cadet.
Oh gosh, that's funny. That is funny. Space debris fell on the Earth.
That happens all the time. Nope. Okay.
Okay,
Not to
well,
drag
if it
this
happens all
out.
the time, I'm sure it happened on February 2nd.
That's not the day in history, though. February 5th, Apollo 14 landed on the moon.
What?
Apollo 14 landed on the moon in 1971.
Okay.
Okay, and let's see. We have not a lot happened on February 2nd, February 5th. On the other hand, we do have some famous birthdays for the 6th. Can anybody get 3 famous music stars were born on February 6th? Mary, why don't we try you? Hello? Anybody out there?
You're
Yeah. Hey, Mary
Okay.
says, I don't know 3 famous people, but I know an infamous person, and that's Patty. Patty's birthday is tomorrow.
Today.
Oh, very good. Well, unfortunately, she's not here. So happy birthday to Patty. And no, we're not going to sing for her.
Catch her next time.
One of the 3 famous singers born on February 6th. Let's see if I can give you a clue.
Brad knows.
A pretty big
Um,
clue.
Yeah.
Well, come on.
That would be Rick
Come on, Bob.
Castley.
There you go.
I think we
And
just got
Rickrolled
Rickrolled.
the entire
Yeah.
Rotary group. Yay.
What was the answer? I didn't hear it.
Rick Astley.
Really?
It's famous.
Exactly.
It's an 80s.
It's the only thing he's known for. Okay, along with Rick Astley, we have Bob Marley and Axl Rose.
Ooh, wow.
I heard of them.
Okay, what president was born on February 6th? Let's see, how about Sean? Unmute yourself, Sean.
Let's go with Lincoln.
Nope,
Damn it.
that's $5 for completely screwing up that one. We have a holiday coming up for him.
Russ had his hand up.
I can't tell who's got his hand up.
Russ has got his
Here is-
hand up.
Okay, how about Sue Frost? Come on, Sue, you ought to know this one.
I don't know.
Okay, $2 to you.
Okay.
All right, we'll try Russ since he had his hand up.
Ronald
He was
Reagan.
there.
Ronald Reagan.
President ever.
Ronald Reagan, you're correct, and you all should have known that. Shame on you. In
Okay.
addition, Babe Ruth was born on February 6th. Okay.
I think we need to
Are
go to
we out of
Happy
time yet?
Finds.
Okay, Happy Finds. Who has a Happy Find? I'm going to start it off. I'm going to give you $10 because Don is up, mobile, and back in the office. I know he's
All
been
right.
that way for a couple of weeks, but I haven't been able to do the find. So $10 from me.
Wonderful.
James had one.
James?
Yeah, I have Happy Find. Yeah, we've been nominated for Best Barbershop for the 3rd year in a row. So don't forget to vote today.
And how much is your Happy Find?
$10.
That it? Okay,
I have a
Good.
Happy Find.
go ahead, Bill.
I'd like to donate $10 because Sue Frost agreed to sponsor the golf tournament that I'm working on that benefits adults with developmental disabilities in the Sacramento area. Golf tournament is May the 10th, but thank you, Sue, and I'll put in $10.
Very good.
Very good.
Okay,
Is that the
Yeah.
night bill?
Yes, it is.
And one final comment. Today is National Shower with a Friend Day. Think about it.
Oh, jeez.
okay, great. Thank you. You just never know where these are gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to a program before the morning's over. Russ, would you like to tell us what we're gonna be hearing about?
Well, actually, I kind of told a lot that I know about Ray already, but Ray did a trip that I have dreamed about all my life, and someday I still hope to do it. And he went down to a place that's a little chillier, believe it or not, than Orangevale today even. And he went to Antarctica, and he's going to share some memories of that trip. So Ray, really.
Cool.
Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be at Orangevale. You are a great club, and I really appreciate the efforts you put into Rotary and the status you bring to Rotary in the whole region. So congratulations on your awards, and thank you for all the good work you do. I'm going to see if I can properly share my screen and whoops, didn't work that way. Share screen. And I've created this PowerPoint, and it's on a timer because I have a tendency to get distracted and just keep talking and talking about stuff that's not really a part of the story. So we're going to start from the beginning. It's hard to believe that almost 20 years ago, I took a trip to Antarctica, the highest, driest, and coldest continent in the world. And I took this trip with a buddy of mine, and it looks like my PowerPoint. We flew from here to Miami to Buenos Aires to Ushuaia in the tip of South America, took a boat from Ushuaia to the Antarctic Peninsula, then to the Falklands, and came back through Santiago, Chile, back to the United States. And it was a great trip to be there. And Russ, you would really appreciate it. I was in Antarctica about the same way somebody in the tip of Florida is in the United States. We saw just a sample of it, and we were still a long way away. So this is a buddy I went to Antarctica with, Rich Wampler, and I was 20 years younger with less gray hair. The Buenos Aires is a huge city, and excuse me, I think I've picked the wrong PowerPoint. Something has gone wrong, horribly wrong, because it's going way too fast. So I'm going to close this and start over again. One of the problems with PowerPoint is if you set up a program like this one and you do it wrong, it's really, really wrong. So I'm trying again here. Let's try this one. So there we are. I'm going to just go with this version because it's a little easier for me to just click slides and I can tell the story better. So that's the Antarctic Peninsula. We were on the windless side of Antarctica, really, because the wind comes from the east and you're kind of in the wind shadow of the continent. These were our ports of call when we were there, and I'll get more into where we stopped and what we saw. So Rich Wampler and I worked. Rich was an inventor of an artificial heart, and when I was much younger, I worked for a company in Rancho that made an artificial heart. Rich and I traveled a lot, and we talked about places we wanted to go, and he wanted to go to Antarctica. So we scheduled our trip to Antarctica. We went through Buenos Aires, and Buenos Aires is just a huge city, lots of stuff going on, but it's a long, long flight. So you get to the hotel after 20 some odd hours of traveling, and the first thing they do, because in Argentina they're very proud of the tango, they took us to a bar. It was warm in the bar, hot in the bar, gave us a couple of beers, and I fell asleep in my chair because I was just so worn out from the trip. But they also gave us a tour of Buenos Aires, and one of the iconic images, at least to me, are the trees. If anyone's been down there, the trees are huge. These banyan trees are just monstrous trees. And in the parks, they're giant. And you can think about it as a great place to build a tree house, but they're wonderful trees. The other thing they're proud of, at the time, the movie Evita had just come out. So we had to go to the resting place of Eva Perón and her family tomb, a lovely, lovely above ground mausoleum. But what was funny about it is they were talking to us and said, well, this is her official tomb, but she's probably not buried there because back when she died, had they buried her in a tomb that people knew about, they would have stolen the body. They have in Buenos Aires the Pink House, which is their large building for their seat of government. And many of you may remember the Falklands War. They have a huge memorial to the soldiers who died in the Falklands War. And we can talk about that a little more. I'll talk about that when I get to the Falklands Memorial. They have elections in Argentina. And when we were there, an election was about to begin. And this truck has the best sound system ever. They were driving through the streets of downtown Buenos Aires with the big buildings, and this truck was playing so loud it would rattle your teeth, echoing off of the buildings. It was a very, very interesting and exciting thing to see. After a couple days in Buenos Aires, we hop on a plane and we go another 600 miles south, I think, to the tip of Argentina, Ushuaia. And it's very, very barren. It's cold, it's windy. And the most striking element or thing about being in Ushuaia is looking at the timberline. It's a very, very stark, because up at a certain elevation, the wind is so aggressive that there are no trees on the mountainsides. And that was, for me, very, very interesting. Now, they also have a park at the tip of Ushuaia, and it tells you that Alaska is 17,845 kilometers away. So we're a long way from everything. We've come to the whole length of the world down to Ushuaia. And this is a view from the tip of South America, looking due south towards Antarctica. The next thing to do is, after your park and you go to a dinner where they serve you lots of food, you go to your boat. The boat that we were on was the Clipper, and it was a reef-fixtured icebreaker. And that was pretty cool. But as I'm walking out there, I come across a little boat, and it has the name Olivia. My youngest daughter's name is Olivia, so I had to take a picture of this boat just to show her that her name is everywhere. So we leave Ushuaia. Between this picture, looking back at the port, to this picture, looking out at an iceberg, I was seasick. I was extraordinarily seasick. The boat moves up and down, side to side, crossing the Drake Passage. They say it's the roughest sea in the world. I believe it. I was seasick. I'm not a good sailor. I was seasick for about 30 hours. And if you've ever experienced seasickness or motion sickness, you know that you do not want to do it for 30 hours. And I was really disappointed. But Russ, if you really want to go, it's still worth it. It's worth the 30 hours of seasickness to get there, because there are penguins. There are penguins everywhere. Penguins coming, penguins going, penguins walking, talking, and they're completely fearless. And they build, this is the springtime, so we're going about this time of year, and the penguins are on their nests, and they build their nests on high rocky hillocks there. And their favorite pastime is yelling at each other and stealing little pebbles to build their own nests. They spend all day building nests from stolen pebbles from other penguins. They also smell very bad. It's like living in a chicken coop. Everywhere you go, you smell penguin, and penguin does not smell good. There are also glaciers and icebergs. So one of our first stops was here, where we're looking at the penguins. we get on a Zodiac and we ride, and then we get to hike around. And this little ice floe was calving. You could hear the cracking and popping of the ice as it falls into the ocean. That's a view. We took a hike up the hill and looking at our boat in the little harbor, and it was really beautiful. But the other element or animal you see a lot of is seals. There are lots of seals, and they are, again, fearless of people, but you should be afraid of them because they're pretty big and pretty powerful. We went to a whaling station, Port Lockroy, on an island, and these are whale bones on the beach. And then I came across the head of a humpback seal and laid down next to the skull of a humpback seal or humpback whale. Now you get cards from your trip, postcards. You have to send postcards to everyone you know. And the fastest way to get the postcards back to the United States is to have them canceled, but they're canceled on the island, and then they get put back in a bag and put on your ship because there's no air traffic. So you just take your postcards and they cancel the stamps right there in front of you as you're in Port Lockroy. The next part of your trip is cruising on the ice floes and looking at icebergs and seals. So this is a leopard seal taking a nap on an ice floe. The red stuff is not what he was eating. Well, it is. It's leopard seal poop. But the great part about this trip, you're out on a Zodiac, about a dozen people on a Zodiac, and you're looking at icebergs. Now, the icebergs in the Antarctic Ocean, when you're way south, don't melt. The water is below freezing, and the ice just weathers. It's like walking through the painted desert. A storm will come by, it'll lift an iceberg up, twist it, throw it around, and you get multiple colors of white and blue and these huge icebergs that are grounded, and then in storms will flip over and get weathered a little bit more. It was absolutely remarkable to see. And if you're looking at icebergs, it's kind of like looking at clouds. You start to see faces and shapes in the iceberg. And in this case, I had gone to Egypt a couple years before, and if you turn your head sideways, you might see a face in that iceberg. And I just touched that. So I looked at this sideways, and I said, well, that looks like the face of the Sphinx. And you can believe me or not, it's just the thing you do. These icebergs and all the ice is covered with penguins. Penguins are walking around. Penguins are carrying around along and sliding on their bellies. They do this, they walk a little bit, and then they slide on their bellies. And they're walking from their higher rocks where they built their nests down to the ocean. So you have paths. You have penguin paths, and the red is penguin poop because they're eating krill all the time. And that's one of there's paths for penguins everywhere. This is out of order. I moved that slide accidentally. This is one of the arches in the little cruise we took on the ice floes. More penguin paths, forlorn penguins walking back and forth, and then the more penguins standing on a hill with their eggs. Now, it is a tough occupation to be a penguin. I was watching this mother penguin from way up on the rocks walking down, and the penguin is on the right, and on the left is a bird called a skua, which had picked up this mama's baby penguin and carried it and was eating it. And the mom walked down and found where her baby was and was standing there staring up at the skew. I watched this whole exercise for probably 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, watching the mom come down the rocks to look up at her baby. This is a Chilean station, a Chilean research station, and they had more penguins and elephant seals. Now, this is a pretty good sized elephant seal, not the biggest you're going to come across, but a good sized elephant seal. And she might look like she's smiling, but she's actually hissing. I was probably 25 feet away from her, and she picked up her head and she hissed at me. And so I decided to back away because I do not want to tangle with an elephant seal. This is my personal favorite picture that I took of an iceberg there at the Chilean ice station. Penguins in the foreground, penguins making noise, and an iceberg. And then you're riding through the channels, and there are icebergs floating around everywhere. Little pieces of ice are everywhere. And I thought this was a cute image as I'm riding in the boat. I see an X in the rock, thinking it must be something important right there. And I wonder who put the X there on the rock. The other thing you get, if you've been on cruises, a lot of times you get whales riding the bow wake. So these are Menke whales riding the bow wake, and they're called stinky Menkies because they really smell bad when they breathe or they exhale. It's brutal. But you're looking down at them off the bow of the boat. Of course, if you're in Antarctica, you want to go swimming. Swimming is an important element. And we went to an island called Deception Island. It was an old whaling station, and it's a blown out volcano. So it's a caldera, and you get inside and you can see there's still active steam coming up from the caldera. And that's where you're going to go swimming because presumably the water is warmer there. People who swim in Antarctica, this is the typical way to swim in Antarctica, is to put your bathing suit on and go kneel in the water that's coming off the volcanic activity, a little bit warmer than the rest of the ocean. I, on the other hand, decided to really swim, having done the polar bear New Year's Day thing at Orangevale Park a couple of times. I thought this wouldn't be too bad. Well, the water's about 36 degrees here, and it's warm about 2 inches out and 2 inches deep. After that, it's really cold. But I went and dove into the water. I went running down the hill, jumped into the water, came back and asked my buddy, Rich, did you get that on video? He said, no, because I didn't know how to turn your camera on. So I did it again. And then I did it a third time because one of the tour guides had never done it. So I decided, you're already wet and cold now. What's one more trip into the water? Also, if you've ever done a polar bear type activity, once you come out of 35-degree water, 36-degree water, even 45-degree air feels pretty warm. Then we went to another island to look at more animals and life. And there was a family of elephant seals, penguins and seals, penguins and penguins. Now, penguins are strange creatures because they argue, and they argue a lot. And they argue about a piece of beach that looks the same no matter which way you go. But these penguins were just going at it, arguing about something. I have no idea what it was, but it was kind of fun to watch. And then the elephant seals wander off back into the water. And then there are baby penguins. Now, this is fairly late in the season, and they're just about ready to lose their baby feathers and be able to start swimming. But they are very friendly. And if you sit down on a rock, you'll have baby penguins walking around you. they spend a lot of time on the hills. And when you look at penguins, you'll see them on the hillsides. And there's the classic image of a penguin looking up, flapping its wings and singing or making noise, whatever you want to call it. The penguins actually do that, and you'll hear the sound echo across, walk across, back and forth across the hills and the valleys where the penguins are standing up, they're singing, and then it gets quiet at one spot, it moves to the other, and back and forth and back and forth. Some of you may be aware of Shackleton and his exploits. He was an explorer whose crew they were exploring Antarctica, and they got stuck. Their boat was crushed, and he went on a trip to find the rescues, and he put his team on Elephant Island, and they were there for a year, a little over a year, while he took a raft and went to South Georgia Island and got a rescue arranged. This is a statue to the Chilean captain who rescued the people. These are sea lions, southern sea lions, and they're everywhere. They ate sea lion and penguin for a long time. And then there's, again, more icebergs. And birds, lots of birds following the airplane. The albatross fly, and these are really big birds, and they're everywhere, following the ship, just sailing behind you, coming up right behind the ship. And then we get to the Falklands. The Falklands still have minefields from the war, at least they did 20 years ago, and they lose a sheep every so often to the minefields. This ship is an iconic old whaling ship in the harbor on the Falklands, and the people of the Falklands are given the rights to a certain amount of peat, or they burn the peat if they want to. It's actually mostly natural gas and electricity now, but there are fields of peat that they can burn. And then there's a whaling museum. 20,000 whales were killed by this whale gun. And then this is the Falklands Memorial to the Falkland soldiers who died, the British and Falklanders who were there. And it's a real long and interesting story worth the telling, because the people of the Falklands got kind of lucky because the Argentine general chose not to invade. He ended up getting fired and perhaps executed for his unwillingness to kill civilians on the Falklands. Otherwise, Argentina probably could have retaken the Falkland Islands, but that's another long story. If you've ever been in the high latitudes, you know sunsets last forever. You go up to Alaska in the summertime and the sunset takes hours. So we were there and the sunset would go on and on and on. You didn't have to rush to get your camera to catch a sunset picture, because the sun sets for about 2 hours, 3 hours, and then is rising again. Birds in the distance, always a lot of fun to watch. And then you get to another island. This is on our way back, and there are Magellanic penguins that actually live in burrows in the ground. And so they're burrowing penguins. For all you Boy Scouts or anyone who's been on a snipe hunt, I was told that the bird in the middle, the darker splotch in the middle of that, is a snipe. I don't know. I couldn't confirm or deny that, but for those who've been on a snipe hunt, that's probably as close as you're ever going to come. Another picture of the Magellanic penguins. They're not quite as friendly. They apparently are a little more sensitive to people. And then these caracara birds. These are hawk, eagle type birds that eat all sorts of penguins. This is an old sheep station on one of the islands in the Falklands. So we took a hike around the beach, went to the sheep station, and had tea in a house looking back at the ship. The only time we saw dolphins or porpoises was on this little run back from having tea back to our ship on the Zodiac. And this is all real photography. These are not digital cameras. I didn't have a digital camera, so I felt really lucky anytime I got a good picture. The landscape is beautiful, and this is a pod or a group of penguins. It's pretty hard to see, and we weren't allowed to go very close to them. But in the very middle of this picture of the basic penguins are 3 emperor penguins or 3 king penguins in the middle. And that was the only king penguins we saw. The southern sea lions are all over the place too when you get here. And oops, that's a caracara bird. And then a little sea lion looking down. One of the real interesting penguins that you see are the Rockhopper penguins. These penguins, we're up probably 150 feet from the ocean, and these rockhoppers actually are hopping up the rocks, building their nests mixed in with the albatross. And the albatross build their mud nests, and the Rockhopper penguins, they can go up almost any hill you can imagine back and forth to the water. It's pretty amazing to watch them doing their rock hopping. And as I said, it's a hard life being a bird or a penguin in the Antarctic. In fact, this is another image that I really, in my sick sort of way, thought was neat to find a almost completely intact skeleton of a penguin on the beach. Then we got back, we flew from Ushuaia to Santiago. Santiago is a big, smoggy city. There was when we were there. They have a big park on the top of a mountain. And you look down on the city, which is smoggy like LA used to be. And for those of us who like wine, they have wineries there. And the wineries and vineyards look just like they do in California. So after 2.5 weeks, we toured a winery. My interest in the trip had waned. I was not all that interested in seeing a winery that looked like a Napa winery, but it was great. From here, we flew back to Sacramento, and I have a trip of a lifetime that I remember like it was yesterday, even though it was almost 20 years ago.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We're all applauding in our applauding way. I hope you heard that. Pardon me. Thanks very much, Ray. That was great. That's a very interesting thing. Yeah, it's something that, being a photographer, I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, it's about $10,000, $12,000 now to take the trip that we took.
Yeah, that's why I'll be going to Tahoe instead. Anyway.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, this Mary, I wanted to ask Ray a quick question. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't even ask about that.
It's more of a comment. You know, Ray, I just yesterday finished the book called 2 Years Before the Mast. Have you ever heard of that one? It's about
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Oh my gosh. Well, the whole description of the clipper ships going through the straits there around the Horn, it was so great to see your pictures because it helped me understand what they were going through in 1837. Pretty amazing. So, hey, thanks a lot. That was great.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question for Ray.
Yes, sir.
Why is there a pie plate up there on the wall behind you?
Because my daughter was born on March 14th.
Ah.
And it's a circle. I showed it earlier. It's a circle of the first 100 digits of pi.
Cool.
Okay, anybody else?
Ray, how far is it from South America to the edge of Antarctica?
From the tip of Ushuaia, the Drake Passage, I think, is about 400 miles wide, 400. I know it took us over 24 hours on the ship to cross the passage. So I haven't looked at I didn't measure the map, but I was seasick for a long time. So I measure it in seasick days.
Thank you.
For those of you who may have seen or may not have seen, there's a movie called, oh shoot, now I lost it. Something in Commander.
Oh, Master and Commander.
Master and Commander.
And for Mitch, we did not eat the penguin, but reports from Shackleton's crew is they don't taste like chicken. And after you eat penguin for a year, you don't like it very much.
I would imagine. Anyway, this movie, Master and Commander, a lot of the scenes that were taken where you see the ocean, they were actually filmed in that area for something else. The people that were making the movie found this footage that they could put into their movie. They didn't go there to do it, and they were able to. And you see how rough that is. And I sure wouldn't want to spend much time. I spent a little time, going back and forth to South China Sea, and when we would leave, sometimes the weather wasn't very nice, and it could go on for a week. And some of those guys I had to do my job for everybody else because they were too sick to get out of their pumps. For some reason, I was lucky I didn't get affected by that. But then it's another thing. So thanks very much for that. And it was great to see you, Rich. For a parting thought, it says, I don't know, this came into my brain the other day. I don't know why. Sometimes you know how your mind comes out with something that you hadn't thought about in 40 years or whatever. And this is one. It's from Tennessee Ernie Ford. You remember, some of you, I'm sure, remember Tennessee Ernie Ford's TV show. And at the end of Tennessee Ernie Ford's TV show, he would always say, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we'll see you next week. So we'll see you next week. I'm going to hit the bell. Sometimes I forget to do that. Thanks, everybody. For those of you, we'll see you shortly at the food bank.
At the food bank.
Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
See you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, great to see everybody.
Good to see you, Rich.
And take care.
Take care.
While staying distance. And you can even get guests watching a game on their own devices.